And I saw him stop, walk over, pick something up over his bike, put back in his car. It's like, you gotta be, now I've gotta make up with it.
And he's, yeah, because he's got my mom.
And then that broke it open, he said,
All right, let's open the meeting with the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes, Samantha, will you take the roll, please?
David Strettengas.
Here.
Clarence Tyler.
Here.
Robert Dowdy. Diane Tsai. Here. Danny Broderick.
Here.
Helen Ines. Here. Judy Farstetter. Here. Christopher Smith.
there.
You're right into the guests. Who wants to go first?
He's good.
Huh?
James is good. He's just here to
See
listen.
him.
He's back here.
Okay.
Want me to go first? I'll go first.
Okay, Marilyn.
Came tonight because I wanted to talk to council and let you know exactly what has been going on this last year. Over a year ago, I came to the council meeting to express my wish to donate a land to Loganton Borough for the use of a community park with a pavilion for picnics and a children's playground. 3 months later, I received a document to sign that was incorrect and not reflective of my wishes. I responded back to correct mistakes and try to move this process forward. But again, no response to my letter or communication for many months. 11 months later, this April, members of the Borough Council, President Myron, Mayor Dave, and Councilman Helen Ines finally met privately with me and Janine at my home. At this meeting, I made it very clear to them that I had not signed in the past due to the incorrect language and stipulations that were put in the contract by Mr. Koploff. Promises from the council member were made to incorporate the correct language within the next agreement. Janine and I stated firmly that the next gift agreement had to be accurate with the promises made to us tonight at this meeting in order to go forward. We were assured it would be done and closed the meeting with a handshake and a hug. Again, the latest gift agreement received by me from Mr. Koploff did not contain the facts and promises that were discussed. I watched the video also of last month's May council meeting where councilman staff was personally attacked about the land donation. This was inappropriate and uncalled for, especially because they already earlier knew the reason I had not signed, because I outlined it to them in detail during the April meeting. At this point, trying to do something positive for the Borough of Loganton has resulted in frustration, inconsistencies, empty promises, and inappropriate placement of the blame on someone else. If only they had been honest with me and I had received what they promised us at that meeting, I would have gladly signed. My son David and I has been involved since this all started when our family supported the donation. We have now lost all trust in the ability of the borough to bring this project to a completion with what we were promised, and he is now firmly against me giving my land. Therefore, we are withdrawing my offer and will not be donating land to the borough. I did not take this lightly, and I remain steadfast in my desire for a community park, and am exploring other options to try and make this happen. If anyone has additional questions from me, I'll be happy to discuss them with me. Just contact me. Thank you. Respectfully, Maryland staff.
Any questions, concerns from council? I mean, we're not gonna sit here and get into a big argument and shouting match, but, the 10 stipulations that we come up with at our meeting are all in this last contract.
That's not true.
They might be in different words than what we talked out there, but they're in there.
I will give an example, Myron.
Okay?
I thought that we were gonna just let this go, but for example, the promise that you made to my mom and I out there was that, since her park was smaller and all she wanted was a pavilion and a children's playground, which you had equipment donated from the school, and the pavilion was easy, that you would, if you got a DCNR grant,
Okay.
that you would do her land first.
Because my.
And she said, and she responded, great, because I would like to be alive to see the park. And you all agreed that her park would be first. If you read the contract from Larry Koploff, it says, if it is convenient to the borough, it'll be done. If it's not convenient, it won't be done. That's not the promise.
The second
The
promise.
second thing is, it once again ties her land to the upper portion owned by Gene Nicholas. And that has been continual throughout every single agreement, that her land has nothing to do with Gene's. Now, you can do what you want with it, but there is no stipulation that you have to have Gene's land in order to have a park for her. Well, we discussed it, that's 2 examples in the contract.
And what, after I said, what if you don't get it? Promise.
Oh, also,
The other
she
promise.
asked you, what happens if you don't get the grant? What happens to my land? And you said, we'll build the park anyway.
Within 1 to 3 years.
Yes, within 3 years. Remember, Myron? Within 3 years you promised her. None of that's
I
in
don't
it.
remember saying if we didn't get the money, because I don't know where we come up with the money. It all hinges on the DCNR grant.
You promised me, because I said, what if you don't get the grant? And you have my land? And you promised me, I will still build your park, we would still build your park within 1 to 3
You
years.
said it wouldn't be as
That-
big and it wouldn't be as great, but we would still have a park.
That's what you told me.
promised.
Well, 2 promises you made to me that you are not in this contract at all. That last thing is deleted out of there altogether.
Okay.
So it is not correct.
Can I respond to number 1?
I did not want to get in a shouting match with
Okay.
you.
We're
But
not-
what I have to
just-
say, I'm done, and what I said is
Okay.
the truth here.
Okay, I'm just going to.
I swear.
I
it is
just
the
want
truth.
to reply on our side, your first thing, that is right in the contract, number 7, the borough agrees within 3 years after property is conveyed to the borough will be developed as a park including a play area for children, a pavilion, and a handicap parking.
Yeah.
The property shall be developed as a park prior to the neighboring Nicholas property. It's right in the contract.
So it doesn't have the line about if it's convenient?
The existing barn may either be used as a park or demolished. Then we went on to include, we'll include a plaque.
Hold on,
stating where-
we're gonna get ours out.
Number 7 says,
Let me read, hold this paper.
where's the
I didn't
second
want this to happen. This is ridiculous.
Oh my God.
If the wording wasn't right, why, I thought the note said that if it wasn't acceptable, why did a month go by and you could have contacted us and said, we don't like the certain line, and we could have.
There was a delay until David got the agreement.
We would have gladly changed, am I right?
Yes.
We were waiting for David and the family to us to have a discussion, and I also, by that time, had lost all trust. I didn't believe you anymore. So anything you said, I didn't believe, because you made a solemn vow and hugged me with it, that what you would do, and that is not what's in this agreement.
We tried to, we didn't do anything intentional, it won't be beneficial.
I'm reading.
But I'm just, defending us because we feel that the stipulations that we talked about that night are in this contract. But, Number 7. In the event that it's not convenient to develop them together, priority will be
Oh,
given
now you read it.
Now
to
you read it.
developing to the SCAF property first.
Where's
That's
that?
not what you
Number
said.
7.
There- Okay, isn't that what I said, Myron? That there was now an insertion of something about convenience?
What that means is, we talked to the architect, number 1, all the drainage would have to come down across there, that would all
No,
have to
wait,
be
wait a
done
sec, wait,
before-
no. Let's go back to sitting at the table with
Yes.
my mom.
Okay,
You promised my mother, we will do, you didn't say if it's convenient or if we can't do Nicholas, you said, we will do your part first. That was
That's
the
what-
promise.
that
Now,
was the
here's what it
promise.
says.
yes.
Now, here's what it says. In the event that it's not convenient to do the Nicholas and SCAF together, so that right there tells you what the number one priority is. We'll do it all together, not hers first.
That wording.
Priority would be given,
To the SCAF property.
yeah, priority will be given after, if you can't do Nicholas and the SCAF
Two of
first.
them together,
Myron,
or
that
yours
sentence,
first.
but that's
all
not
it
what you
says.
promised.
Wow. I mean, we're not, I think what that means is we weren't developing the upper, it's just that the landscaping and all that had to be done as a whole.
That's not what you said.
Okay, and again, you guys should have come forward
Where,
with this
where
change.
is the second promise?
What was the second?
When I asked you at my house, why asked you, what if you don't get the grant? And you said you would still do my property apart within 1 to 3 years. That is not in this agreement at all. That whole promise has been deleted.
We could have. That's what it paid, if we don't, why didn't you call us?
Dave,
We didn't believe you.
no.
Number 8 is right in there, it states about the 3 years, if it's not done, the property would be converted back to you.
That's not what she asked for.
That's
Well-
not,
You promised that you would do a part.
I cannot believe I made a promise like that, because where will we get the money to develop a park?
Well, through fundraisers or something. You said that a
You promised.
pavilion was inexpensive and easy, and you said the children's playground equipment was already donated by the school. That's what you told us, so it would be easy.
And we have since found out that it's not playground equipment that the school has. It is a walking trail equipment.
that's not what you promised at my house. You made 2
Okay.
promises that
And
are
we-
not in that agreement, and I'm not giving
Okay,
you the.
we're gonna close this tonight. First of all, I wanna thank you for the initial donation, and I'm sorry we couldn't make it happen. The park is still in high gear, moving along, and that's all I'm gonna say.
Okay, if you had give me an agreement that you promised me at the meeting, I would have gladly signed. But you didn't, you were dishonest and you did not do it.
Because I don't remember promising to develop a park without a DCNR grant.
You told us how you were gonna do it.
How?
You said you had donated children's playground equipment.
And we found out we did.
Okay, but at our
It isn't
table,
my
I
meeting.
hear you, Myron.
Yeah.
But at our table, you clearly didn't know that then, and you made that promise to her, and that's the promise that she heard. And if you knew that that promise was not gonna be able to be fulfilled, then why didn't you fix it in this first before you gave it to
When
her?
did we find that out? 3 nights ago.
Okay then.
We just found it out.
Okay, so it was impossible to fix in
Right.
this agreement. Okay,
Right.
but there was no call made to her. Listen, the bottom line is, please don't call my mother petty. My mother had in her heart to donate her land to the community. That is an honorable act.
Absolutely.
And I think that she has tried with all her heart to get this worked out. She has waited 13 months. She has done everything you guys asked her to do.
You asked me to stop.
And
You
she
don't sign
also,
anything, I
she
stopped.
also, for the record, asked the borough to do nothing for her. You don't have to mow her land, you don't have to pay her property taxes, you don't have to do anything.
You could have asked for that if you wanted to.
She's not that kind of person.
Well, that's.
To ask,
that's up to
listen.
you.
I paid my own way.
Listen, we serve the prison board and we pay our debts. If our land is in her name, she's gonna pay her property taxes until such time that it's in you guys' name. She's not gonna ask somebody else to pay her debts. That's the kind of person that she is.
Now,
I'm not gonna, listen, I love you all, and you know I love you dearly, dearly, and I want this park as much as anyone. But I'm not gonna leave here that there is anything other than thank you to my mother for what she tried to do. She tried to do right. Everything that she said, she did. And I
This
feel-
was unintentional, Janine.
I know, I believe that.
We didn't try to.
I believe
Then
totally,
why-
Dave,
why
that it's
didn't you
unintentional.
We
I-
had
Why
accommodated
didn't you read this before you
your
sent it
wishes.
to me?
We fully thought we did. We didn't, we're trying to be underhanded in any way. I just don't know why you didn't call us and say, look, we don't understand, we don't have this or this, and we would have gladly, tried to make some change.
After a year with all the things, we even came out here in January to find out what was going on. You didn't bother to call me or come see me for 1 year until April, when you got this meeting because you needed this sign now. Why didn't you call me and contact me?
Well,
I didn't trust you anymore.
okay, could it be because of this, letter that, says what we have here, Myron?
The email.
Uh,
Yeah.
How about the email from Larry Koploff on July the
Wait,
6th?
wait, listen.
I know
The
what he's
email
gonna
that
do.
says, it's my understanding that your vision is that the parcel be part of a public park dedicated to the memory of William Scaff. As Chris and I discussed, the parcel standing alone is too small to be a park, and its use as a park is dependent on the owner of the surrounding parcel also gifting land to the borough.
Okay.
Now, that sounds to me like that was part of the holdup.
No,
Just
I'm
because,
gonna
no, wait,
stop this right here.
no.
I'm gonna speak.
All right, you speak.
I got that in
Before
July. I
Listen.
responded in the 12th of July.
Just
6
because
days later.
Larry Koploff called Chris and asked him for my mother's email address so he could send her the contract does not, and told Chris what was in it, does not mean that Chris told Larry Koploff to drop a contract or what to put in it. The problem was what was in the contract, not that he
The
called.
last meeting, you guys accused me that this whole thing has been held up because I told Larry Koploff that the property was too small. That was your exact words. It's in the minutes to be approved.
That's what we got
It's in
over
the
here.
email from Larry.
No,
Where does it
no, it
say?
is not in the
Where
email.
does it say in there that I said the park was too small to go on?
We
What's
said
this?
it had a discussion
No.
with him.
Said we discussed it,
Yeah.
the parcels, that does not mean
And it's his
that I said it's too small.
And it's his understanding, where is it, that your vision is that the parcel is part of the public park, okay? Chris and I discussed.
'Cause Larry
parcel
told him.
standing alone is too small. I mean,
Larry
he's
told
never seen
Chris.
the
Larry
parcel.
brought it up to me and I said it's big enough for a park, it
Can I-
is small.
Come on.
And I told you that at the last meeting.
Can I
And
say something?
Can I finish a second, Mom,
No.
please?
In April,
You screamed at me and shook a paper at me that I said that your exact words, that the Scaff property was a go until an email was shown concerning Larry Koploff that Chris Scaff states the property is not big enough for a park. Where does it say that in there?
it doesn't say that.
It doesn't.
I would like to say, it has nothing to do with that letter or conversation
You
last
guys look
July.
at it.
Because that was dated July 6th, when he sent it to me. July 12th, we wrote a long letter explaining why it was not, it was big enough for a park. It's bigger than a football field, regulation with the goalpost, and big enough for a pavilion and play area. We sent this big letter back to Larry Kappa, July 12th. I heard nothing from him until Ellen called me in October and told me don't sign anything because the borough's gonna try to get a grant, so it'll be next year.
Even so, Larry sent a second contract to her that said she was restricted to the storage of borough vehicles. Once again, a wrong contract.
And it had nothing to do with a conversation Chris had with him. And I detailed why you have nerve to pull that up and blame him again. At the April meeting, I told you in detail the dates and what I had responded, and that the lack of communication was why I had not signed. And I made that very clear to you in April. And May, the next meeting, is when you took that little piece and twisted the wording. Because he had a conversation, he didn't tell him to put in the contract that was too small. So that is, I don't, you just read it.
It's very simple. This can be clarified very easily. Last May in 2022, my mother came and offered to donate her land for the use as a community park. She presented it in writing and gave a copy to every member of the council. In it, she stipulated what she wanted in that park, including a plaque to honor my father. Then someone at this council contacted Larry Koploff and asked him to draw up a contract. After that, I have no idea who did that. Someone at this council told Larry Koploff what to put in the contract. We received the contract said, no, she couldn't have a park. She could only store, so who is the person that contacted Larry Koploff and told him to draw up the agreement and what to put in it? That's where the problem started.
It said that it was restricted to the storage of
Borough
vehicles where there was a current need. So, and then I had a call from Mayor Dave asking me when we were asking me if he could store the truck in there, and I told him it wasn't empty yet. There was a need. Somebody told Koploff that they needed that. That was just July. Since July, all the other things that happened.
Them who contacted Larry Koploff and asked for the contract and what to put in it.
You mean
The very original
contract
one.
From, that was in July 6th,
The first one in July,
right?
yes.
July 6th.
Who did that?
Is it, do we have an email we sent Larry?
Who guided the writing of the contract? Who stated to Larry Koploff what was to be written in the contract?
Well, I'll get in trouble, but I thought Chris was talking to him.
No, I did not.
No,
all I did was gave him her email, and I told you that.
All I'm asking is.
I'm tired of you two throwing me under the bus here.
All I'm asking
proving you
is-
wrong every
Chris,
time.
I just.
Who?
You were the one that was trying to negotiate with Larry.
No, I was not.
It was Mayor Dave.
I called and told Larry, contact my mom, here's her email.
I thought you were the one that was.
Who is the one that told Larry Koploff what to put in the first contract? No, I don't think that's
I
clear.
got no emails to Larry Koploff at all in June or July of last year.
Is he here?
Larry
He
did
wasn't
come
here
up
the
with
night you guys were here.
No.
What?
Someone-
What month was that?
She
July.
came in May
July of last year.
and a contract arrived in July. Someone had to tell Larry to write that contract and what to put in it. Who was that?
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
I don't remember of having any communication of telling him what to put in that contract. I thought that
No
he
problem.
was dealing.
No problem.
I thought that he was dealing with either Chris or you or one of them, and you were that came up with that agreement.
No.
I don't know of us putting that in.
No, so wait a
I
second.
have
Wait.
abstained from everything to do with that.
Well, that's
Wait a
okay,
second.
Chris, you didn't do anything
Day
wrong.
one.
Okay, so we just need to find out. Larry certainly wouldn't just arbitrarily come up with his own
I thought he
ideas.
did it by talking to you guys.
He never talked to us.
Well,
ever.
then that's a problem. I don't know.
So he had to, but somebody had to tell him what to put in the contract.
About storage of the problem.
Well, forgive me, but I don't remember that.
I don't either.
Okay.
And so,
Okay, no
who did?
problem.
I thought it came from you guys.
No, but you guys, you know, we showed up in
Dave, I think you
We
you
got a
said something
second.
to Larry
Chris, let
about
me
would it
finish.
be legal to put vehicles out there, because we discussed that in a borough meeting.
I might have said that, Chris. possibly.
Yeah, because you wanted to know if it would be legal for us to put vehicles out there, and you were gonna talk to Larry because we didn't own the property yet.
But I
Because
thought,
you asked me to ask her.
Okay, but then let's move ahead. We're not sure. it's not fair. The second agreement, so mom writes back and says, no, my park's not too small. I wanna have a park. I don't wanna have a parking lot. And sends it again, and she gets the second contract that says she's restricted to the storage of borough vehicles. Who told Larry to write that? Someone on the council is directing Larry.
I had sent, it happened in May, and I had forwarded him the letter that you provided during May's meeting.
Yes.
And my exact email to him says, during a recent meeting, a member of the community gave a generous donation of a property to the borough. Attached, please find a letter from this wonderful lady. Would you be able to contact her to draw up the official paperwork of the transfer?
That's it.
But he never did.
That's,
He never did. I have never spoken to Larry Papa.
that,
I
I sent
thought
that
he
to
was
him on
dealing with
May
you guys.
17th.
That was right after they were here. You were here in May.
Yeah, sorry, we never heard from
I
Larry.
have
To
never-
this day, we've never heard from Larry.
I've never heard from anybody. I never heard from you two on council until this April when you needed this
Well, we were trying to be straightforward and we didn't try to deceive anybody or do anything. And if it doesn't suit, then so be it.
No,
We're done.
in January, we were here.
We came and we said it.
And we came in January to find out what was going on. And we couldn't get anywhere with you guys.
And
I know,
I don't know what the
That's
date
why I don't
was, if
trust
Helen contacted you and told you we couldn't do anything because it was all contingent
It was October.
on
That was
DCNR.
October,
We couldn't do anything before that.
May to October.
No, January. We came to the January meeting, January
So
2023.
that stopped this process, not me.
And it said,
Okay,
and
okay,
we
let me
told
just-
you, I told you personally, because remember the architect was here, you had the wetland maps that all her land was changed, and that is what we told you. We did not have a contract from Larry. You said, I saw it on the
So-
tape, Bear Dave, that you thought we had it. And I said, no, we don't have it. That he did not, he had sent us an agreement that said we were restricted to the storage of borough vehicles, no park. So she has waited 13 months to try to get something that even said she could have a park.
It seems to me it's a lack of communication. It sounds like you folks we're trying to be dishonest and everything. I've never tried to be dishonest with you about anything. And I don't think anybody else did. I think, but if you don't understand us and think that we tried to do it right, then we can't, we're done.
Empty promises is what I said.
Our
And-
July.
And empty promises and inappropriate placement of the blame on someone else. If only you had been honest with me and I received what you
Well, I
promised
don't like
at
you
our
saying to be
meeting,
honest, Mary.
I would have gladly.
We never tried to be dishonest
Right.
with you.
You are.
Okay.
Because
well,
that is
let's
you
stop
made
this
me a promise
conversation right now.
and you broke the promise.
And, I think we've had to give it enough time to the,
Yes.
So
subject.
can I just,
Yes.
in our July meeting, we talked, and Chris had said that in a communication with Larry Koploff, Larry had stated that he had written an agreement to be sent to Maryland. She had a few things that needed to be clarified before moving forward, and that she would be meeting with Larry Koploff tomorrow to
What's that mean?
But she never, first I ever heard that.
Well, how do we know that?
Yeah.
How did we know you didn't hear it?
Well, I don't know. How do I know what you're doing?
Now you're blaming us for all that time to spend.
This is
Yeah.
last July.
We assumed that, it was between you and Larry. Like,
Well,
That's what I thought.
that was July of 2022. That's only 2 months after her donation. Okay.
Well,
So
still,
wait
it
a
wasn't
minute.
contact.
Wait a
We thought
minute.
that
This
he was
is
working on it.
today is June of 2023. So May to July is a real small increment compared to another
The
year
whole year.
passing.
Yeah, you have nothing after that.
No,
That was the end of it.
yes.
Tried to do our best. I think we're done.
Yep.
All you had to do was keep your promise.
Yeah. Well, if you think we've tried to be dishonest with you, Marilyn, why, God bless you.
I have already prayed for you.
I am not the kind of person who would try to be dishonest with you, and I don't think Myron was, nor Helen. And we tried to please you, and you could have gotten back to us sooner, and I think it's just as much your fault as it is ours.
Oh,
And-
brother Dave.
All right,
Brother
we're gonna stop
Dave.
this right here.
I know.
Nobody's gonna attack my mother or my sister, my family. This is done. Like you said, it's done.
That's good.
That's not
Okay.
fair.
Drop it.
That's good.
I say it's much my fault as it is.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your offer.
Okay. Next guest.
Gilbert Stahl, Lockhaven Constable. I know we had met before a couple months ago. I watched the last month's tape. I was unable to attend due to a previous engagement with work. I wanted to ask you what Mr. Koploff came up with as far as the issues he had with hiring me. I had sent Larry a packet with all the laws and the contact information of 2 other constables that do it full time for townships.
Did you hear anything from Larry? Any correspondence? First of all, I want to apologize for not getting back to you. I had 2 different phone calls into a gentleman to talk, and he has never to this day got back to me.
That's
yet.
the other thing I want to discuss. You said in the video that I watched from last month's recording that you spoke with somebody that trains constables.
I tried to speak to someone, he's never called me
CCD
back.
has nothing to do with constables outside of the minor judiciary. The only thing they teach us is how to move inmates and serve warrants for a judge.
No, it wasn't
Outside of
through
that,
the-
they have absolutely no training on us.
It wasn't through the county, this was a gentleman that trains all constables.
I can assure you, nobody else has ever trained me other than another constable.
This guy is a constable, and that's his main job, is to train constables on what they can do and what they cannot do. But he has never reached back to me.
I would respectfully request his name because I would like to know what he is saying, because I know of nobody in the state whose job it is to train us. It's a thing that we've always just one generation trains the next for this stuff.
I don't have his name with me, I can give it to you.
I have spoke to fraternal order of constables and they know of nobody that would, I actually give them the video clip. They know of nobody that speaks for all of us as a whole. Not attacking you, just simply asking who is this person, because I want to make sure they're giving out good information. I spoke with Larry's secretary, I gave him a packet, I gave them 6 different court cases and every statute I could dig up showing, same thing I had showed you guys, Act 49 of 2009 that shows constables can cut citations because that is considered an arrest for an ordinance violation or a breach of the peace. So, pretty much wanted to do a follow-up since I didn't hear from him.
The question I had is, okay, you come to my house and you cite me for weeds.
Yep.
What is the process that you go through? Like, if you're gonna find me, because
Yep.
it's your 3rd time back.
Yep, we've already got past the, you know, you can take care of
What's
this.
the process?
I'm gonna cut you a citation, I'm gonna either give you a copy of it, or I don't have to, there's no law that requires it. I will take it to the magistrate, of which jurisdiction, which would be MAGS currently, and I'll put my ORI number that I have down on it, and it'd be no different than any other police officer cutting a citation for a violation. Constable Jim Canning up in Bradford County, he does that for a living. He has 3 communities, that's all he does. He has processed probably over 100 citations this year and taken them to court and argued.
Okay. So I can't, you cite me for $100. I can't pay you right there.
No,
Yeah,
you
okay.
would have to go to the
That
magistrate at
answers
that
the
point.
question. So with that being said, I'm going to ask for a motion to get a contract drawn up for him to do our cost of board.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Yeah.
Second. All those in favor, hold it.
I have a question.
Yes.
Where is the money coming from to pay the gentleman?
General fund.
Okay,
Yeah, that's part of gonna be like a monthly bill.
okay, sorry, I was just curious.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. I got that clear, and again, I want to apologize.
No, that's why I came here. I wanted to speak to you guys because stuff gets mistranslated in emails.
And
I'm a big fan of face-to-face with
I
any
will get
issues.
you that gentleman's name, because like I said, I've been waiting since last month, right at the meeting. I contacted him twice, and he still has not called me back. But I
Yeah,
will
well,
get
it's
you
just
that.
concerning with my involvement in Fraternal Order of Constables in Harrisburg when there's somebody saying they speak for all of us with training.
Right, and the main concern was how you go about citing.
Yeah, I don't take the money whatsoever.
Right.
It goes to the
To the
magistrate
magistrate.
and then
They
they'll
get a
cut a side.
percentage
Yeah.
and we get a percentage,
Yep,
right?
it'll get
Okay.
divvied out that way.
All right, so we will have Mr. Koploff start working on that agreement, contract, whatever you want to call it.
Alright, and if there's any questions from Mr. Koploff, please again have him contact
Contact
me.
you.
I gave him information, I've yet to hear from him back.
Okay.
I did provide him with a copy of one of the northern boroughs contract for Constable as well as an example.
Oh, okay. Okay. So welcome aboard.
Thank you, sir.
Any other guests? Can't see everyone back there. Chris, anyone back there?
Have you guys got anything you wanna talk about?
I just wanted to say something. So I got a lovely little letter about my son's truck. If I need to, I will bring everything from when I bought my property. All of my vehicles are parked on my property. There's no alleyway that's blocked, there's no nothing that's blocked. And last time I checked, it's legal to park your car in the driveway.
As long as it has a current license and a current inspection sticker.
If somebody had not been on my property, because the way the truck was parked, we were waiting on getting Billy's windshield repaired because it got hit by a rock when they were, coming through plowing snow. But that is not an alleyway that's blocked. There's a line on the other side of my driveway, that's where me and Bob Shady split.
Yes. Okay.
So everything in my property is up to borough standards.
They all have current license and inspection sticker.
They all do.
Okay.
We check everybody in the town?
Yeah, do we check everybody in the town?
He was
'Cause I'm not-
supposed to check everyone in the town, yes.
3 people.
There's more people, more letters that need to go out because we have a list to talk to Ed to see if he has actually contacted these people and, you know, and started the process for them. I don't know, we need to talk to Ed.
My one vehicle is parked there, it's down for maintenance. I'm waiting until I get the funds to actually repair it. I only get paid once a month through the VA for disability. I can't work. So physically, I'm screwed and I'm only given what I can to live off of. I've been saving up to get the parts to fix it, and once it's fixed, it will be inspected.
I've got 4 drivers in my house and I will have a 5th one next year.
So what you do, if you have any that are not current license or current inspection, Mr. Ed Miller can give you a permit that is good for 1 year to be on your property without license and inspection sticker. After that 1 year, no questions asked. It's either gone or you're going to be arrested. Okay? So if you have one like that, I suggest you reach out to Ed Miller and get a permit, which what's it cost, $7, something like that. It's not much at all. And then show that on the vehicle and you're good for a year from the date you get it from.
Well, I've talked to several people, only 3 other people got those letters. And if you look anywhere in this borough, there's a lot more than 3 people.
Oh, I know there is, and that's why I want to talk to Ed. He's not here again tonight. He wasn't here last month. And there's more names that he needs to contact.
On that note, are you gonna continue sending letters to people that have antique vehicles that are registered?
That have
Which
what?
means an antique vehicle that is registered as an antique, which means I can't have it inspected. I've gotten several letters regarding this car. I've also spoken to Ed about it. It's registered as an antique, that means I cannot legally have it inspected, yet I keep getting letters, my car needs to be inspected. So I feel like you guys are wasting the paper.
Yeah, you get a permit, it's good for 1 year.
I don't have to get a permit, it's legally registered.
It's not inspected.
It does not have to be
You
per
don't-
state laws.
I don't think you.
That's,
there's
it
a
has to be
section
inspected by our
antique
ordinance,
vehicle.
not by the state
Right,
law.
not by the state
You
law.
cannot legally inspect an antique vehicle.
Okay, but our ordinance states that the vehicle must have current registration and current inspection to be setting around. If it is not, doesn't meet one of those criterias, it can't sit there. Don't matter if it's an antique or a classic car or whatever, you can't do it.
Can local law supersede state law on that?
It's not state law, it's our ordinance. Loganton Borough Ordinance states that vehicles setting on your property must have a current registration and a current inspection sticker. If they do not, they're considered, what do we call it, not junk, abandoned or whatever, and you must either buy a 1-year permit or you must remove it from your property.
What she's saying is state law.
It says I cannot inspect that vehicle.
It is against Pennsylvania regulations.
But-
Do you supersede Pennsylvania?
Yeah, we're not worried about that. We're not following the state laws, we're following our ordinance, and that's the way it was drawn up.
So you think you're above the state law?
No, absolutely not.
That's what you just said.
No, absolutely not.
You said the borough ordinance
State,
supersedes
no.
Pennsylvania
So
state
it's
law.
Supersede, that's the way the ordinance is drawn up for abandoned cars, I'll call them abandoned, that it must have the current registration and current inspection.
Myron, I just want to check with you, are you saying that you can't get a classic car inspected, is that right?
I cannot get my
That's
antique
correct.
car inspected, you cannot inspect it.
Well,
Per state law, my husband is a state vehicle inspector, he can lose his license for inspecting.
that's the first we've heard that.
Yeah.
I never heard that.
There's nothing in our
You
ordinance
can't-
stating about
But that's what I'm telling you, is that there's state laws on that, is that how it's written, is that I cannot inspect that vehicle.
And you can drive the car on the road without
Yes,
having
you
inspection?
can drive.
Okay. We might have to,
put something in our ordinance about the antique vehicles. Yes,
If I may add on that one, since I'll kind of be dealing with that. I have a 28 Model A. I understand antique tags, you don't get inspected. So as long as it would be roadworthy, I will tell you,
Yeah, it's,
if it's not sitting with weeds and actually an eyesore, I could tell you, I would read between the lines on that law because I understand. You can't get a sticker on something. So I
it's
still have
currently
insurance on
safe
it.
over the winter in my yard, we're working on getting it pulled, but like.
Yeah, but I know, as long as you have
It's not-
insurance, as long as it's not,
It's
you know,
insured
a
and it's
junk
registered.
vehicle, I understand because you legally can't
We're working on
inspect
putting
it.
it back, we're working on fixing the paint and fixing the things on it, but
Yeah, so I do understand where you're coming from because I own 2 antique vehicles and know exactly how that works.
thank you.
but it doesn't, it is registered, right?
Yes, and
Okay.
it's insured, and
Well,
it's been insured for 15
We'll,
years.
okay, we'll check it
we're gonna
out.
have to check our ordinance
Yeah.
and get something in there that handles the antique vehicles or the
Yeah.
classic cars. Because as of right now, the way the ordinance reads, it can't be there because of the inspection sticker.
Yeah, if you have an antique license.
I will say, I used to have it covered and somebody ripped my cover off to check the license, to see if it was inspected, and damaged my cover.
You have an antique license on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have, yeah, my old fire truck, I don't get that inspected at all. I mean, it's just got one registration and you got when you got the truck.
Yeah, and I know that from when I was a state inspector, you don't, if it's registered antique, has an antique plate, there is no inspection on it. That's all waived through the state.
Okay, we will have to, look at that ordinance and, change some things around on that.
We'll have to tell Ed Miller so that he doesn't receive anything.
It hasn't been coming from Ed, it's been coming from the borough on behalf of Ed. When I called Ed before, he had no knowledge of it being sent out.
That was listed at page
Yeah.
and he sent a letter.
Yeah.
This is the first that anybody has made that complaint, and
Yeah.
we'll certainly.
Yeah. We'll check that out and see what we can do to the ordinance.
Yeah, because mine wasn't for that either.
Okay, anyone else over there? Anyone else?
I'll go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, my name is Mark Miller. I'm on the zoning hearing board over in Lamar Township. I was just here to visit and stand for my friend Gilbert Stahl here. I think you folks did a really good thing by deciding to contract with him. He's very on the ball and meticulous about his things and takes his work serious. And I think he'll make you people proud. And the reason it involves me is because it sort of sets a precedence for anything that we might do over in Lamar Township. I'm running for constable in Lamar Township too, so I was just over being supportive and nosy, so.
Okay, well, all right, thank you. He owes you a quarter for, you owe him a quarter.
It's the first nice thing he's ever said about me. I'm flabbergasted.
Okay. Michelle.
Mrs. Scaff, I'd just like to say thank you for your overwhelming generosity to this borough. I mean, I kind of grew up here. I don't live here now, but my mother was a teacher here, and I spent a lot of my youth running around in Sugar Valley. And to find people like you in communities who are willing to be so forthcoming and generous with your property, and to want to see these communities thrive and find enjoyment is is truly heartwarming. And I'm really sorry that this didn't work out. And I just, thank you very much. I just want to say thank you.
We'll still work on it.
Good. I'm very happy to hear that. You let me know if you need anything.
Okay, thank you, Michelle. Anyone else for guests? Not, we're going to go into the minutes from the last meeting that were emailed to everyone. Any additions or corrections?
I got a correction.
Go ahead.
Pleasure as always.
On page 2023-54.
54.
Big weeks.
Yeah. I believe it's the next to the last page.
Okay.
It's written in there towards the bottom, President Myron Seiler indicates that the Scaff property was a go until an email was shown to her concerning Larry Koploff that said Chris Scaff states that the property is not big enough for a park. When you threw that last meeting, you and Dave, I argued that I never said that, and this letter proves that. I want an apology, or I want what was said added into the minutes, because it will go public. Because that is wrong. Where in there does it say that I state that the property is not big enough? It doesn't.
Chris, could I read it again? As Chris and I discussed, the parcel standing alone is too small.
That's discussion.
We discussed it.
We were going by.
Where, it was discussed by Larry and I brought up. Where does it say I said the property is too small? Where's it say?
It's implied there by the
That,
fact.
yeah, we implied that you and him had a discussion, and
If that's not true, then Chris, then
It's not true.
very clear on
Okay.
here.
That's what I
then I
said.
apologize, and please correct that in the minutes.
Okay. That's all I want.
Yeah.
And I apologize too, Chris, if that's the case.
Did you guys even read this letter beforehand?
Yeah,
You did?
yeah.
Okay.
I just have a quick question. Since it seems like this situation is the biggest, but not the only situation that there's been some major ball dropping on Larry's side, like, have you guys thought about looking into somebody to take over for him that could provide better communication? I mean, because it clearly looks like his job's not being done properly.
He's always given us good service, so.
If the borough council members reviewed the contract before they allowed it to be sent out to the public, it would solve it.
I agree with that.
Myron and Dave have both stated repeatedly that they never saw those
We did.
contracts that Larry sent.
Not till we got them from you.
And, correct.
Yeah.
And at our house with Mom, when we offered to give you copies of the.
Absolutely.
Well, that's mismanagement by the borough.
But, and I agree with what you're saying, we need to, anything that we do needs to come through this meeting before it goes
First.
to, like you guys.
Yes, first.
Yes.
That's what we talked about at her house.
Yes.
It needs to come to us so that we can all review
Make
it
sure it's
And
correct.
before a day before the
it's
meeting.
out, and that's not happening.
No, it's
We
not.
had thought that it was a wise way to do it that way, Chris. We thought it was easier to have them agree and then bring it to the borough, and if it suited them, it was okay. We thought we were doing it right, but I guess we didn't.
Right. So, yes.
We thought that would be the easiest and the best way to handle it.
Yes.
I understand, but now that it's to your attention, you can
Yeah.
take corrective action.
Yes, right. We have to reach out to him and everything comes through here. Okay, anything else? Any other corrections to the minutes? Motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
Ellen, second.
I'll second it.
Judy, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, the treasurer's report, it was also emailed. Is there any discussion? I have one question on that.
I got a question on it too.
Till I find it. Okay. refresh my memory. You do all payroll out of the general account,
Correct.
right? And then you transfer money.
Yes,
There's absolutely no money transferred this month out of the water fund to general to cover payroll.
because I did it later, I put the deposit in this past weekend.
Oh, after this?
Yes.
Oh, okay,
The treasury report I do on the 20th,
yeah.
and payroll gets done between the 20th and after.
Oh, so, okay, you did that after.
Yes.
Okay, that's my question. Go ahead, Chris.
All right, there's multiple entries on the general fund and in the water account with PP&L. I talked to Sam about it. Sam said the PP&L is double billing us, like their computers are screwing up. And she talked to them and they said, pay the bill and we'll get around to fixing it whenever it happens. Well, it just so happens that Stephanie Borowitz and I were in a discussion and she was telling me about her office getting overrun with stuff with PP&L. And I told Sam about it and I said, we're gonna bring it up tonight at the meeting. Stephanie said, send her some copies of our bills and the correspondence that Sam has had with PP&L over it while this is hot and heavy, and she'll add it into her ordeal that they're doing in Harrisburg with their fight with PP&L that has been overcharging everybody. Okay, so.
Yeah, I've had issues with them too.
Have you?
I have two in my own, at my house.
Yeah.
So the PP&L bills that came on this treasury report, I got 2 bills for each account that we hold. One was due on one day, and the next was due 6 days later for the same account.
So why don't we?
I think we should proceed with fighting it with Stephanie.
I agree with that, but I think what she needs to do if it continues to happen, when you get that first bill, hold it for another week. If you get another one, just fold it up and put it right in with your check and send it right
Well,
back
we
to
can
us.
do that
Don't
too.
pay. Don't pay that second bill.
Well, Sam, have you paid them?
They were paid,
Yeah,
yeah.
'cause she was told to pay them by
Yeah,
PP&L.
because it happened at my home also, and they said, oh, there's something wrong with our reader, it'll be corrected later. Now, I will say, some of the accounts, we did not get a bill the month prior. It came back and said there was nothing due.
Yeah, I got $1.7 million.
Correct.
So
I
we
got
just
that
need to
last
stay on
month.
top of that.
And
Yeah.
then this
Yeah.
month, I got 2 for each account.
And if it happens again next month, I would not pay that second bill if it's the
Okay.
same account,
Right.
the exact same amount. Put it
But it's
right
not
in
the
with the
same- it's
check
not
and
the same
send it back
amount.
to them.
It's
Yeah.
a different amount.
Why is it even a different amount?
If you look at the treasury report for
Yeah.
PP&L,
They're all different.
they're all
amounts.
different amounts. But and I have the account numbers here, right here. The first two, one was 427, one was 2935.
And they all have the same date range on?
Yeah.
No, they have the date range, but the due date of the bill is different by like 6 days.
Right. It's all over the place.
So, I agree with what Chris said. I think we do need to get any information we can get it to Stephanie. If they're going to have a big meeting with PP&L about other things, they can be bringing this up.
I think it's just good that we, let her be one thorn in the side also.
Yeah, there's actually 3 there.
Yeah, there's a bunch.
3 for one account.
Yeah.
And each bill is its own separate account, correct? We have
Yeah.
several.
We do have several accounts. We have 5 accounts with the general fund, I think, and 3 with water.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, any information you can get, so we can get it over to Stephanie.
Okay.
Yeah, and then let Sam stay on top of it with
Yeah, you just
PP&L
gotta
also.
watch it every month.
Okay.
If they come like that and just don't pay them, if you wanna wait till meeting night, bring it up at meeting night and the
Right.
board can determine
Yeah.
if we're gonna pay them or not. That way it's not falling back on you.
Got it.
Everyone all right with that?
I'm good with that.
Any other, questions or corrections to the treasurer's report?
I just want to make a comment. The beginning balance was 61,000 and the ending balance is 35,000. And I saw we paid all the Sugar Valley fire company things. So that brings the balance down a lot more. So that's why there was always more money in there
Yes.
than what,
Correct.
we discussed this before.
Yeah, and I want
Okay.
to also comment on that. Michelle's not here. You remember the beginning of the year?
Yeah.
The one question that she had was, how can we have so much money in the bank this year? We didn't have that last year. Right there is why, because we missed 3 payments to the fire company. We collected the money from the municipalities, but we didn't turn it over.
Inadvertently.
Right. So that's under control now. Anything else on the treasurer's report?
Motion to approve.
Second. Danny, Chris and Danny, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay. Nothing outside the normal monthly bills, okay? The bills. Ed's not here. Does anyone have any information from Ed Miller?
He was, he usually tells me he's not gonna be here, but he didn't say anything, and I know he wrote, he was planning to write 3 permits about 2 weeks ago, but I know he wrote one for Mark Workful across the street, I don't know anything else.
Okay. And we do have to get those additional names to him so he can get letters. Well, Sam, you'll be getting the letters out. You have
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll get you the additional names. Chris, do you have anything from Bill?
Yeah, I'm gonna go over it when we get down to the water committee.
Okay. Announcements? You don't have anything?
No.
Okay, old business. First one on the agenda is the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit in the Borough streets. I'm gonna leave Sam talk a little bit about that, because you've dealt with the gentleman.
So I met with a gentleman from LTAC, his name's Mark. He came down beginning of May, and did a street speed study on the streets, of just the borough streets, not 880 or 477. He said 25 is very slow, doesn't understand why we really want to go that speed, but we can. He did say that the borough streets, other than Water Street, they are not long enough to actually be enforceable because of the amount of time or the length of the streets that need to be in order to do that. The exception to that is Water Street. And he did say that he does understand the issue with it, people flying down, and he is in agreement that we could change that to 25 miles an hour. And he is in the process of coming up with a conclusion, the draft of that, and he will give that to PennDOT, and he'll give us a copy of that as well when it's completed.
With that being said, it runs in my mind, I think we'd be better off with Diane's suggestion from last year, the speed bumps versus reducing the speed limit. Because we can't touch Main Street. We cannot change that. Cannot change 477.
Why can't you change Main Street?
Because it's state road.
Yeah, but they already approved it, they did a study on it, they approved it.
When?
That was the first study that was
A while
conducted,
back,
PennDOT came
first
out.
study,
They don't have the study, so it can't be done.
they
No one-
approved Main Street, but not Mill Street.
Right, but
They can't produce it?
no one would give them the traffic study that was conducted.
Nobody gave it to the state police.
No, I don't think PennDOT has it either, because state police went to PennDOT to get it, and they said, we don't have it.
It really was, PennDOT said okay for Main Street, but not Mill Street.
Yeah, that was in that letter that I gave McDermott.
Yeah, but they don't have the, didn't have the study, did they?
PennDOT would not release the study to the state police.
Yeah, they
Oh, then they have it.
They have,
Oh,
they're the ones
okay.
that did it.
Well, do we want to pursue 25-mile-an-hour on Main Street?
I have had several people ask me about that, and they are 100% in favor of 25. Because you've got the charter school, which has mega cars out there every day. You've got people going in and out of Sam's store. You've got Methodist Church. You've got the store down here. You can't count the bank because they should be slowed down for the stop sign.
Should be.
But how many times have you been out to the post office and pulled in and tried to back out there? It's a wonder there haven't been more crashes out there. And people, it's a known fact that with the equipment, even state police with radar have to allow 6 miles per hour over the posted speed before they cite you. So that means you can go 31. If you have it 25, you can go 31 before you get cited. Right now, it's 35, so you can be driving 41 before you get cited. That's too darn fast in this street down here.
I do want to correct you. I think Matt McDermott said that you're able to go, they will allow for 35, they allow 45. It was 10 over.
right.
And that's why he said if we moved it to
Well-
25, they would actually go 35.
Yeah, so I stand corrected on that because I got this off the internet. They were saying that's a sweet number that's usually used. So if you're talking 35, you got people driving 45 through town. And if you make it 25, if you go 10 miles per hour, that means 35 before they get cited. I don't know. I just think there's a lot of potential on Main Street. And why do these other towns have it? Look to Renova and drive through Renova. I mean, it's not the only one. There's a lot of places where it's 25. And I don't care what you do, that's just my opinion.
So if I recall, in that letter, didn't PennDOT reach out and say that they would help?
They would help with the signage.
Their signs, basically,
Correct.
their state signs, so they would have to do the signage. Is this something we want to pursue on Main Street?
We've got to do something. Because the traffic that goes flying through there all the time, somebody's really gonna get hurt, because we've got kids that, I mean, should know better than to ride their bicycle in the middle of the road. But if they're riding their bicycle in the middle of the road, somebody comes flying through like they always do and doesn't see the kid, we're gonna have a problem.
We even have some students in charter school that live in town and walk,
Yep.
and there's no sidewalks.
Right.
And I get love to walk, but there's no sidewalks to the charter school.
My boys
Yeah.
take the back way and go in the backyard to get home because it's not safe enough to walk.
It's, I mean, it isn't the wild, wild west anymore. I mean, things are changing in this town. We've got mega traffic.
Well, we're gonna have a bunch of problems starting Monday at Main Street and Mill Street, I'll tell you that.
You're gonna start that sidewalk job?
Yep.
You see they have it all laid out.
I mean, if we're gonna have a constable in town, like, I know it's gonna take a while to draw the contract up and everything, but
He
I would call
doesn't,
it,
he doesn't enforce
He can't do
speed.
anything with speed.
Right.
can he do it, like, call in anybody to do
Oh,
it?
yeah.
Something's gotta be
Oh,
done.
yeah.
Anybody can call in.
Any
Anybody
citizen
can.
can.
Any citizen
have.
can call.
We have.
McDermott sat here, 2 to 3 months ago and said they haven't got calls from over here for a long time.
Yeah.
That's what he told us.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah.
He doesn't tell the truth.
Anybody can make a citizen's arrest.
Yes.
he also said 25 is too slow. He doesn't live in this town. He doesn't see the traffic that we do. And when he came here and did his radar, how long does it take for that word to get around?
Not long at all.
Doesn't take long, and everybody knows he's sitting there, so, I mean.
Yeah, Facebook's faster than a phone
We need a
call.
blow up state cruiser to put out there all the time. Maybe
I will say,
Better than a hairdryer.
I will say this, the state police are making more of a presence down here at the
Yes.
intersection than I've
Yes.
ever seen.
Yeah.
They are really,
Yeah.
You're right.
and now they got a trick going where they're backing clear up into
Yeah.
the corner by the house where
By
people
your
can't
yard.
see them when they're coming down the hill and blow through the stop sign.
God, they could set my driveway for all I care.
They
They'll
sit
make
on
their quota
that
a week.
alleyway
Yeah.
across from you, they sit up in there, I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah,
They meet their quota. in a
they
week.
have been, Matt kept his word and he is making a precedence over here.
So what do we want to do with Main Street? We want to act on it now, or we want to wait and see what this speed study comes back? Because he's on all streets, right?
He's doing all borough streets.
So I was a little confused on the speed bump thing. Are we able to do speed bumps or we're not?
street,
Yeah,
on Water Street, we can.
Water
can.
Street only, that's what we're talking.
But how's that gonna affect plowing?
Take them out in the winter.
I remember, you can
Yeah.
purchase them.
Okay.
There's so
Just like
many
the parking lots,
options.
they take them out for the winter time.
Okay.
And you don't have that protection in the winter.
But our winters are what, a month and a half now?
A little better than that.
Not long at all. So,
It'll slow you down, and there will be no need for
Yep.
anyone to enforce it.
Right.
I mean, you're gonna lose the bottom of your car.
yeah, the first time you hit it, the next time you.
Well, I saw a video one where you went over the speed bump, and if you hit it too hard, a big piece of pavement came up through the car 2 blocks.
And, do they get back on us and put them in speed bumps?
We have to, put signage up, telling them that your speed bump's ahead or whatever. And I think if that's something that we're gonna pursue, I think we need to do both ends. Get some coming down and slow them down again, and going the other way too, both sides. Do we wanna think about it? Next month, the study should be back. We can act on all this at one time, decide
Yeah.
what we wanna do on Water Street, yes.
I know that it's not related necessarily that it's Water Street. Where Water Street and Anthony meet, it's really hard to see around that house, especially in the morning. Is there any way to get a mirror or something up? And maybe the speed bumps will help. But I know like I'm really hesitant in the morning when I'm leaving for work to go that way because I can't always see the cars coming until I'm already partially pulled out.
It's,
I know that there's a mirror on one of the alleys back this way, and it's helpful to see the traffic coming. Is that something we can consider there? Because I know there may not be a lot of accidents, but I'm telling you, living on that street for almost 15 years, I don't even like going to that intersection because I can't see what's coming. I've almost been hit at least once this year.
Myron, what would be how hard would it be to put an actual intersection in right there, put a stop sign in all 3 ways?
where
When I'm plowing snow out Anthony Street, there's numerous times I've had the plow ripped off because somebody's either flying up or flying down.
I've thought about that right there at
And that
Anthony
would
Street.
stop-
Put
that
a
would
stop
stop-
sign on each
that'd be
side.
nice.
Yeah, north and south stop sign, make them
Yeah.
stop at Anthony.
You'll have to ask LTAP to come in and study.
Yeah,
Cause that would
Well, actually, it'd be nice. I can
slow
see-
them down
Yeah.
if they stop.
because even the alley below Connie's house, you pull out there, it's just, you do a Hail Mary and you hope nothing
Exactly.
at her house when you pull out there.
That's what I'm talking about. If we had a stop sign there and there.
No, you just put it up at her house on that.
Yeah, that's
intersection.
what I'm talking
Right,
about.
they would just be starting out and you'd have a better shot to
Yes.
get out of the alley. I don't know.
I'll tell you right now, if you really have trouble getting a stop sign there, I bet, because we had trouble getting stop signs both ways down here at the intersection.
Yeah.
People fought that, like,
Yeah.
they don't want to impede traffic.
But the number of kids that live on
Well,
this, on that
we're doing
intersection,
it
I
for
bet most of
safety,
the parents
though.
would back that
I
up.
know, I
We
understand.
could ask, when she talks to LTAP, that's who we're working with now, correct?
Yeah, ask about it.
Ask them, they might already have the study done, and then they can pull the data from the study they've already done for that
Right.
project.
So, and if you're concerned about backlash from the public, I know most of the parents on Water Street would probably be appreciative of the cars going slower.
Well, it's not the people that live there, it's the people that don't live there that's gonna do all the complaining.
But like if you're
Yeah.
turning in at the funeral home and barely getting started, are you saying we'd have a stop sign?
At Connie's house coming up.
But right there by Nancy Benner's
Yeah.
across from Connie's.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that, you know, if you're starting out coming up from the funeral home and come up to the rear, just past the parking lot and stop again, well, isn't that kind of unusual?
But no, but you go out Anthony Street and like you say, you just hope.
It's hard to
pray
see
that-
around.
Yeah, I hope and pray that
It's a
I'm not
blind,
coming.
Dave, it's a blind intersection. You
Where
cannot
that
see
house
coming out.
is,
Okay,
you can't see around it.
I like the idea.
And if they're parked in their driveway at all, you
Oh,
really
yeah,
can't see.
that's worse, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, if you're going east, why, it is hard to see.
Yes. So, yeah, just reach out with them and talk to them, see if they have enough data and see what we find out. I don't even think we need a motion for that.
I don't think so.
In the developing stages. Okay. So we're gonna wait till next month till we get this data and go from there. Next thing on the agenda, the Sherman Valley Concerned Citizens Extension Letter, which you all received. Basically what this says is the grant from the concerned citizens was contingent on signed agreements with the two parcels involved with the park. And it had to be in by June 16th. Well, we all know that that's not going to happen. I don't know how we're gonna handle this. We're gonna talk to the concerned citizens and see how they're going to handle it. Since it's only one parcel, the park is still a go. We have other irons in the fire at this time. So it's gonna fall back with you guys' court with how you wanna handle this. Okay? Yes?
Isn't the money from the concerned citizens supposed to be paying the taxes and the upkeep on the Nicholas land?
The what?
Is that supposed to be helping with the upkeep, the grant money that you were receiving from the concerned citizens?
No, the money from the concerned citizens was to pay the engineer to develop a park. You can't get any grants nowhere without hiring an engineer.
No, I understand that. I was just hoping that we were no longer gonna be paying taxes on a property that we no longer had the funding to pay the architect or the funding to build the park.
We have a meeting set up. Like I said, there's several other irons in the fire that the committee has. We will have more next borough meeting. We'll put this to bed. Hopefully we can find out from the concerned citizens by next borough meeting what your guys' plans are. You think that's possible?
You have to talk. I would say if you have any questions, we have our email address. Send any of your questions to them, then we can discuss it at our next gathering.
You know when your next meeting is?
We're going to have a meeting the 20th, I think. Yes. So
do you want us to send you an email of
any questions you would
anything that's
have
happened here?
Yeah, any questions you would have. I'm not going to answer on behalf of the board.
No, I don't want you to answer. I'm just saying.
Yeah, any questions that you guys would have, either personally or collectively, you have our group email. Send them to that, or give something to Helen to bring to our meeting.
Okay. Okay.
And we can go over it then when we're sitting down in our
Right, as a group, yes.
Are we gonna continue with the architects since this transpired tonight?
Yes.
With the money we don't have?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Like I said, there's several other irons in the fire. We can't talk about them just yet because they haven't happened yet, but we're gonna be all right. Okay? That's all I'm gonna say. So we have our meetings and find out from them first. They're the hinging body, what they're going to do. Okay?
Why is everything so secret?
Because we didn't have our meetings yet.
But okay, so you've paid what, $26,000 for an engineer. You've lost an entire property. Are you still going to be paying $26,000, $27,000 for an engineer?
Our engineer is working on that right now.
So you're going to negotiate a better price?
Yes, with him and negotiating the payment, all that kind of stuff. We have several meetings that we will be holding before next borough meeting, or this will all come out, what's going on.
So those meetings are with the engineer?
Yes, engineer and individuals and concerned citizens.
More private donors?
We have to see what concerned citizens are going to do.
Yes, that's the main. I mean, should we come to that meeting or can't we come to that meeting? And
I guess if you want to show up, it's not closed to anybody. It's just going to be, we're going to start setting policy. We're going to start setting better policies. Because this was our first round of grants.
Right. Right.
So we used it as a learning experience. So what we were going to use it to figure out what we did wrong and try to correct that for this next batch of grants that we're going to hand out later this year. So, but it's
Ryan, is that a board meeting or is it open or?
It's open if you want to show up.
Yeah,
It's not, we're not making any motions or anything like that. We're just we want to start making policies and stuff like that as a group.
So it's a work meeting.
Basically, it's going to be a work meeting.
But it's open to the public.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
So work meetings can be open to the public.
I mean,
Work's usually
we're
not,
not
right?
taxpayer
Work
funded.
sessions are.
So this is just it's a volunteer group, so, I mean, we're not gonna hide anything.
Okay,
So if you
but-
wanna be there and kinda ask questions, I don't have a problem with you being there. But the thing of it is, it's just more of a work meeting for our group to start setting better policies and how we
Right.
want to.
How to move forward.
To move forward.
So we can just send it with Helen, a letter.
Correct.
Stating what's going on.
But we're not, yes, we're not voting on anything.
So then when would you vote on what you're gonna do with that?
We would, after we get this, we're gonna send all of our policies that we come up with, we will send it to our lawyer, make sure everything is good with him. Then when we get back everything from him, then we will have a meeting and set the policies, adopt them going forward, then we'll present the next round of grants.
Right, but I'm saying with our particular one, you wouldn't make a decision that night on what you're gonna do with it?
I don't know what we would wanna do, I don't wanna make.
No,
an
I'm
answer
not.
on behalf of the board.
I'm just saying, that, you know, if the group, you talk about it and,
I guess if you guys show up and make us talk about it, we'll have to talk about it.
yeah, someone's got to make a decision because, you know, we're all hinging on you, waiting to find out what the concerned citizens are gonna do to see what we have to do. You know, we'd like to know.
Are we gonna have enough land?
Oh,
Out the
Plenty,
staff?
plenty of land, plenty of land. The scav piece was only about 1.4 acres, and the Nichols piece is 3.4.
This almost sounds like, how can this, if this just happened, how can you guys know all this information ahead? It's almost like you guys knew this was happening.
I've noticed, what, with your mother's property?
Yeah.
I knew it was happening since Friday night. I got a phone call from your brother.
I know nothing, because they've
Friday
kept me
night,
out of it.
And all of this has been taking place since Friday night.
So,
All these decisions that.
you knew on Friday night she wasn't gonna do it.
Right.
Okay, so you've been obviously making plans in the meantime.
We're not making,
You're investigating.
the committee, right,
Okay.
investigating what we can do, which way do you go from now, because we want the park to be there.
Right.
So we're trying to figure out what we can do.
Okay, I'm just curious,
Yeah.
because you're saying we already have this in the works and this in the works, and it's like, we just found out.
It's not
Friday night.
in the works, Chris, just investigate.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
investigating.
Well, that's
different
what I mean,
avenues.
though,
Yeah.
I didn't know this was gonna happen.
Yep, your brother called me Friday
She
night.
told me she was coming to the meeting, and I said, what about? She goes, you'll find out at the meeting.
Yeah.
And that's all she's talked to me about.
Yeah. Okay, so Mike be there, try to get an answer, you know, so we can move forward with whatever we need to do. Okay? What's the date?
I think it's what, 20th, at 4 o'clock in the school library.
June 20th. 4 p.m. Okay? Next thing on the agenda, talk about the, added the rear handicap entrance door that we talked about, what, a year ago? I stopped here one day and Chris and Alan were here and he asked me the question about that again. He's supposed to be drawing up a plan for that out there and give us an estimate what it would be. Where it would happen, it'd be on this side of the boiler room, that window would come out and there would be an entranceway into the building and then the door to get set in, like I think he said 3 feet, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think enough like for handicap to get in.
I've only got one question about it. The borough's used this as a handicapped entrance for how many years? It's never been a problem. I don't understand why you even have to change it. I mean, I understand updating and getting things going, I think that's good. But I don't understand why we're pushing it so hard all of a sudden with funds as hard as they are.
Well, we don't even know what it's gonna cost. He's just figuring it out for us to give us an idea.
I've got an idea, and it ain't gonna be cheap.
Well, Chris, I'll tell you part of the reason, Stu Heyer, right next door here, has complained to me that when he comes out here, he can't see because of the car sitting here, and I don't, you know.
Well, I can understand that.
And I get it from the fire company all the time. When are you guys gonna get a handicap parking so we can see when we go out here?
Okay.
So we have to do something.
All right, I was just curious.
Good.
Not only that, I don't think it's the best thing to have everybody coming in through the borough.
Right.
You know, it just
Right.
doesn't.
Right.
It would be the main entrance and it would just be
Yeah,
handicapped accessible.
according to Alan, they can't come through the boiler room.
Yeah.
No, it has to be
That has to be sealed off, so there'd actually be that inside door
That's why there's a
would be
main door
using it.
there.
Yeah,
Actually should be closed.
right.
Okay, so I thought he was gonna be here tonight, but he's not, so.
No, I knew he wasn't gonna be. He's got some things going on.
He also, we discussed, I think, last meeting, the next thing on the agenda is the cost of the school zone sign, the flashing lights out there, like.
I wanna bring something up to you on that. I did some research on that, okay? And I have here the do's and don'ts of municipal liquid fuels funds, which we're sitting on $5,300 and change, okay? One of the things that's permissible to use that money for is to purchase, maintenance, and repair of traffic control devices such as signs and signal devices. So there's a chunk of money that we can use that we're just sitting on.
About a tenth of it.
Yeah, but it's better than nothing.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, it would help.
Yeah, and also, how about the, what's that other, the American Rescue Fund?
That's a grant that is strictly written for the water at this point. We can't
Oh, that's
touch
the one,
that.
I thought the other one was for the water.
Both of them are.
Oh, okay.
Now, the other kick of this too is it can also be used for maintenance, repair, construction, or reconstruction of an ADA curb ramp curb cost for access by individuals with disabilities. That money could also help with that. So we have two avenues we can tap into with that.
Yeah, understand though, Chris, if it's like $5,000, the light out there's probably around 40,000.
Yeah.
Oh, I understand that, but I was trying to look at ways of money that we have.
It would help.
Where can we steer towards other projects?
Another one we need to research is the Marcellus.
Marcellus Shale grant is essentially used to rebuild borough bridges if we need them, like if we had to do the culvert there on South Street.
How about any culverts along the road?
Yes, we can use part of it for that.
Yeah,
But
we don't have that much in there, but
right,
it's in there
but it's
since day one.
essentially Marcellus Shale. I told Dave there last month that it's primarily used for bridges and culverts in your own jurisdiction.
Okay.
Because I was looking at a few things where we could use some of this money.
Okay, we can't get anywhere until we get an estimate from Alan.
Right.
I want Sam to please write to Alan a formal letter asking him that he give us a written estimate for both the school flashing light and the flashing lights for the stop signs.
I'm gonna pass this up,
And
you
might
guys
as well
can
include
read
for
this
the
or whatever.
Handicap too.
Well,
Handicap accessible door.
Please give us written estimates of these.
Those three projects.
So that we can move ahead.
I'm gonna pass this up, and you guys can look at it and then let Sam keep it, because that'll give her a guideline for using any money out of that also. Because it has do's and don'ts, what you can and can't use it for.
Okay, so we're just basically gonna wait for the prices and go from there.
Right. One other thing, are you done with old business? Cause I got one thing to add in there.
Yeah, everything that was on the agendas.
Okay, I did contact Wade, he could not be here tonight. Okay? Wade Joe Dunn. He wrote me this. He said, what specific info is the borough looking for? If it's just information about who needs a manure plan, that's easy. Anyone who has livestock, including a single horse, cow, sheep, whatever. This includes homeowners with farm animals. When an operation reaches a total of 16,000 pounds of animals, that averages 2,000 pounds an acre, then they have to get a concentrated animal operation, Act 38 and all that. With that said, he said if we're looking more towards local planning, especially in regards to what ordinances a municipality may put in place and not violate the PA acre law, that's a much longer topic. If that piece, ordinances an acre right to farm, District of PA Agriculture, they have a meeting coming up with the head of the PA Attorney General Acre Group. They're coming to Clinton County in September to discuss this very issue. Loganton Borough will receive an invite to Mr. Willig's talk. He's the top expert and the head of Acre and PA. So we'll just have to watch for that. That may give us something to help with doing our ordinance on animals.
My comment on that, Chris, is I'm wondering, if they base it like on the weight of the animals, like, boy, you could get a lot of chickens that wouldn't weigh very much.
Well, you can.
I'm hoping that somebody wouldn't be able to have like 50 chickens next door to me.
The word that you're missing though is the manure management plan. They have to write a plan that says this is what we're doing with the manure generated from this amount of animals, and they have a formula that says this chicken will produce a pound of poop, whatever,
Okay.
and that's what they go by.
Okay, because chickens don't make a whole lot of manure, but that's okay. There must be a way to that, Chris, yeah.
Penn State, like I said at that last meeting, Penn State Agriculture is all over that. I don't really want to know.
Okay.
Okay.
That's all I had for old stuff.
Okay, one other thing, we discussed this last month, the ordinances, we need to start
Working on
looking at them. How do we want to do this? Do we want to pick one, like, pick it tonight, everyone go home till next meeting, pick it apart and suggest our changes? How do we want to do it? Or do you want to have a work session for a
I think
couple
we should
hours?
have a work session, a couple of them.
And try to like get 2 of them done a work night?
Yes.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
can all sit down with our books and let's flip through them. But we all know not everybody has the same stuff in their book either.
So the first one we need to look at is about the abandoned vehicles.
I'm gonna say let's start at the beginning of the book. And
Yeah,
work
but
through it.
some of them might not be as important as the beginning.
Let's try to do the most
It's most important to get those
Well, we
done.
can do that.
Yeah.
Some of us don't have the book now.
Why?
Well, yeah, we borrowed this book.
Dave give us
Ed, wasn't it?
No extra.
I'll let you peek over my shoulder.
So you didn't get all the comments from Larry, so, because if we don't have them. then
Yep,
we-
I do have hard copies of everything from, I think, 2019.
There was some miscommunication. I borrowed Danny's book and I I talked to, what's her name, Sue Cox?
Christie.
Yeah, I talked to her, I caught up with her at the restaurant, and she said, we're gonna copy it, and I'll return the book. Oh, good, we're gonna get our book back. Then I talked to Ed, and Ed said, oh, I told her they could keep the book.
Well, we need to get it
This is
back.
not up to date either. None of them are up to date.
Up to
That's what this is all
2009.
about. Yeah, that's what this is all about, to update them and then codify again. Yes?
Why do all y'all's books say different things? Shouldn't
Different?
they all be the same?
Because some books, some people got updates
And not everybody got
as they were done, and not everybody got all the updates, or updates were lost.
Right.
It
Just like we
wasn't,
never get the updates.
They
So
were-
we get in trouble.
They were
Right.
codified in 19?
I think it was 18 or,
18 or 19.
yeah,
And every time we would do something with an ordinance, Nancy was here, she would make copies and put it in a brown envelope and give it to everyone who was on council. We were supposed to go home, tear the old one out of the book, put the new one in, but not everyone did that, so not everyone's book's up to date. Now, she has everything that we have done since they were codified, so if we get copies to everyone and everyone's book will be up to date, we can update, have the company codify them again, and then everyone has brand new books up to date.
Okay.
That's our goal.
I was just a little concerned.
Yeah, that's our goal.
Would Sam please write to Marcelli's office and ask if they would return our book, please?
Yeah. So, you wanna pick a date for a work session to work on ordinances?
There's Danny's calendar.
It says January.
So once these are redone, they'll be available again here to look at?
And they'll be on the web too.
Okay.
Once we get them all fixed up, they will be on the website. When do you wanna do it? Don't pick the week of the 12th.
Thursday nights, it's nice to keep meetings on Thursday nights.
either
it's easier to
Thursday or
cover.
Wednesday.
Except for fire company, on Thursday.
Well, it's every Thursday.
Wednesday nights are almost better for me,
Yeah, better for me. Everybody else.
except the 14th.
No, 14th out.
Yeah.
Ohio.
21st is out, I have an EMA meeting.
Why don't we pick the 7th?
So Tuesday night, is there any possibility of Tuesday nights?
How about the 7th?
7th is good,
This coming
yeah.
Wednesday.
I need you to be in attendance, Dennis.
I don't think we need Sam, do we? Not if she gets us a copy of all the.
Next one,
the
the ones
newest
the ones we're gonna work on
Yeah.
tonight.
Aren't we gonna need somebody to take notes on? Or,
Well, what we need to do, somebody's gonna have to write down how we want it rewritten
Right.
and then submit it, because Larry's gonna have to okay it, obviously.
Yeah, okay it, redo it, and give us a fresh copy.
Right.
As we do that.
So we're gonna need somebody to jot it and write it or record it. How are you, shorthand?
Pretty good, I work for an attorney.
I know it.
But, well, you know, I'm thinking, we're sitting here reviewing this ordinance, and Chris, you have your idea, and Danny has his idea, and then we are gonna have to agree as a group. One of us can print on a copy of that ordinance, what we're gonna change it
Yeah,
to.
yeah,
Instead of having tying her out.
right.
Is everyone in agreement with that? We're not taking notes, we're just taking notes on the ordinances that we're going to.
Ellen, you wanna write that?
Sure.
There you go.
So, we'll excuse you.
I'm battling, sunshine. Anything that Larry says, anything that we discuss that is leading to a vote,
Yeah, we can't discuss it.
is.
Well, we could write this, make a list, then bring it to the meeting and say, we're gonna vote on this.
See, that's a gray area about discussing things that are going to be voted on.
Michelle,
Yeah.
what's your opinion? If it's a work session, then.
You can't vote during a work session.
Right.
Oh,
We're not gonna vote.
yeah, we don't-
We're just gonna get everyone's ideas on this ordinance, what changes we wanna make, and then it will come back to a regular meeting and say, now per our discussion.
That's perfectly okay. It's an information session, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
So you're gathering information.
Yeah, that's what we'll be
That's
doing.
perfectly cool.
right.
Thank you.
That's not exactly what the lawyer says, but then I'm willing to take these
Well-
road.
Yeah.
Just
The
don't
public
nail
have
us
a
for
copy
it,
of it before you
Michelle.
vote on it, so
That's
we
not
can
what
look
Larry
at what you're
Campbell
working on.
said.
When we vote on it, when it comes to the meeting, we'll discuss it, you'll hear it.
Yeah, if you're
Will
here.
there be copies of it for us to actually look at the wording?
We can.
We
yeah.
could,
Because
yeah,
I mean, listening to it, but also reading it is a little bit easier for some people to understand
right.
and like process it better.
Because all we're gonna do is propose it.
Right.
So it would be awesome if, like, right now, I like the agenda, so I can jot little notes on it as I go.
Right.
But having a copy of the ordinances that you guys are proposing as well, so like me looking through it, and if we have any questions, we can ask them before you guys vote.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, it was recently published that the public should be invited to every meeting that we have. Are we gonna do that? Or isn't that true? Isn't that necessary? It's not my idea to invite the public to every meeting, but that's what was.
My personal feeling on that is if we invite the public to every one of the meetings, we're gonna set and work on ordinances, you're not gonna get anything done.
I agree.
Yeah. It's an informational meeting that we will discuss at the
Right.
borough meeting.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
So
gonna
I'm all right with that.
Let's just hope it comes out that way when in the wash.
You're not making any decisions.
Right.
Just suggestions.
We're looking for everybody's input so that we can make a decision.
You don't have to do everything in the public eye, but you can't actively hide to ensure that the public doesn't know what you're doing. There's a letter of the law and there's the intent of the law. The intent of the Sunshine Law is transparency. You can go by the letter, but it doesn't necessarily feed you at the end game. The goal of the law is to be transparent. So if you're doing all this informational work behind closed doors, so to speak, and you're not making any decisions on anything, you're not voting on anything, what are you harming? Nothing.
No.
You're just getting your ducks in a row, and then you're going to show up to the public meeting, right? And you're going to take a vote.
Say this is our suggestions on how to change this ordinance.
So I see absolutely no issue with that, because you're telling the public, this is what we've done, this is what we want to do, what do you think? They have the opportunity to weigh in on that.
But then it was on Watchdog, Michelle, that said that shouldn't the public be invited to all meetings, it said, something like that?
Well, not necessarily all meetings.
Well,
They don't
then
have to be. I mean, if you're gonna sit, I mean, should everybody be invited to Samantha's office?
I don't think we should be, but that's what, that's the impression.
Okay, we're gonna move with it, because all we're doing is gather information, ideas on how to change.
Do I need to make a motion? We have an information
Is everyone,
gathering
is
situation.
everyone okay with the 7th, first of all? Diane, Bobby?
I think.
I have a fourth grandchild due in hours.
Okay.
So if it would happen
Yeah,
to be that
okay.
night,
Well, we
I
would
would let
excuse
you
you.
know I may
Yeah.
not come.
Okay, you all right with that, Dave?
Yes,
7th?
it's not the best one, but I'll do it. I have midweek, I have church service every Wednesday night, but I'll pass on it. I'll do it. It's okay.
Well, you don't come, and then we'll let you know at the meeting what's going on.
What time are we doing this? That'll be June the 7th.
We're gonna need some time. I don't wanna be here till late in the night.
You wanna do it at 6?
Yeah.
And figure,
Let's do it.
we'll just make it, right now, we're gonna have a 2-hour meeting. Now, it might run over 2:50, 2 hours and 15 minutes, something like that, but if we don't set a schedule, we could be here at midnight.
I agree.
Okay.
So everyone okay with 6 to 8?
Yep.
I mean, yeah, 6 to 8, June the 7th, 6 to 8.
And what ordinance or what two ordinance are we gonna be?
And just to verify, that's a closed one, right?
Yes, yes. The first one I think we need to do, which shouldn't take long at all, is about the abandoned vehicle. We just need to add about the classic car to make that one perfectly legal the whole way through. And if someone comes up with one,
The other one, Myron, is the most important, is the animal thing, but I'm afraid we're not ready for it.
no, we're not ready for that. That'll be the next meeting, once we get the information.
What are we doing with the chickens?
That's what he's just saying, we're not ready for
Still
that
there.
yet. We're not ready for that yet.
Why do you need to decide which two you want to do now? Why can't that be decided at your meeting? Everybody can go home and say, we think this, come to the meeting and say, well, I can make copies of all of them.
Yeah, all the new ones that aren't in the book.
And then you guys can decide before the 7th what everybody feels is most important and then
Right.
start it.
Yeah, we can do it that way. Okay, June the
We need a
7th.
second.
Huh?
We need a second.
Chris made that motion. Do I have a second to have the informational meeting work session on June the 7th?
I second.
Diane, second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, it's set. Any other old business that's not on the agenda? Okay, we're gonna move into new business. Number one, Mouse Township Fire Company is requesting two fire police to assist on June 13th and 15th.
14th and 15th.
All right,
13th, 14th, 15th.
13th to the 15th.
Myron, that's already been handled. That letter should have came to the fire company and not the borough. They screwed up. We are sending crews over there because that's their annual parade and the
But he
festival.
has to approve.
He already did.
Okay, okay.
We're already done with
All
it.
right, okay.
How are we getting these, old copies of the ordinance? We're going to print them on, are they, she's going to email them?
She has all the new.
I know.
She's
And-
going to make copies for us.
Okay, yeah, I wish she'd make copies because, there's going to be a lot of copies that are sent through a printer or at home or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you get your copier yet? That's old business.
No, not yet.
Okay. Are they building it?
I don't know. I signed the contract.
Okay.
Now we're just waiting.
Okay, okay.
Okay, thanks.
So yeah, you can just, you're gonna have to have them printed for us by the 7th and just lay them in here on the table or something.
Okay.
We can get them that night. Okay, rescheduling July meeting from the, what is the date?
It would be Thursday the 6th, and I said possibly Wednesday the 5th.
Wednesdays.
Okay, so the meeting is Thursday the 6th.
Thursday the 6th.
You wanna do that?
That's council's decision. It's okay with me.
That's when I already had it scheduled because that's our first Thursday.
No, she wants to move it to the 5th, Wednesday.
Just move back one day.
I got fire police meeting.
Oh, yeah, it's your quarterly.
That's what?
It's a quarterly, it's a Friday.
Yeah. That's a quarterly meeting. I can't just skip that.
And the 6th of July.
On the 5th of July. Yeah.
So it should be the 6th of July. You're gonna be away.
Can we go later instead of the 5th, past the 6th?
Go to the 2nd.
Like, no, well, earlier or later?
Could we do it the 7th or do it earlier?
I don't think you want to do it on a Friday night.
No.
So the 7th, 6th, 5th.
Would you like me to flip it so you can see the July calendar?
Yeah.
I can say, I can move it so you can see that if you make it easier.
That's not here too.
4th. How about Tuesday the 4th?
Yeah, yeah, on Independence Day. Come on.
Just check it. You don't want to do it the 3rd, so you're gonna go to the 2nd week. Now I need to look at yours.
See it?
Would be the
13th.
13th. You just want to move it to the 13th?
Might as well.
That'd be the 2nd Thursday of the month. Okay.
No,
Huh?
I don't know if I can be here. No.
Okay. All right, so,
Go ahead.
Well, I'd like, well,
yeah. You want away?
Yeah.
Well, what part of the week you going away? Can we have it earlier that week? I just picked the Thursday because that's what it usually is.
I gotta check.
Okay.
gravel
Exactly.
roads.
So I didn't know.
No, it's Tony Slater.
Who sent it to you?
This came from.
He thought you were gone.
Oh. She put on here everybody who is expiring and everybody who doesn't have one. We don't have one.
How many don't have one?
Well,
No.
The state bedroom.
Okay.
That's the next, soon as we get the info here from
I
Bobby.
don't really know, I think there should not, to be outside.
Okay.
what's going on?
So just go ahead and tell me.
Where's your calendar? Okay, someone pick a date in July, the week of the 10th. That is not Monday. Tuesday, or would you leave?
Yeah, we go the whole week.
Oh.
Just, that week might be okay, right?
Should we just schedule for that Thursday, keep it on Thursday the way it is?
Well, 13th.
I think that week's okay for me.
That's right, Thursday the 13th?
Yes.
Okay. July 13th,
At 7.
yeah, 7 p.m. So now we have to get that advertised in the paper?
Yep.
So as soon as you get caught up with your typing, go over that ESM certification.
Okay. Okay. Ready?
Go.
You need me to explain?
Yes.
So the ESM certification, this was sent to me by the Pennsylvania Conservation District. No one in the borough is currently certified, but if we had an individual from the municipality certified, we would be eligible to apply for dirt, gravel, and low volume road project funding through the Conservation District.
And we only have 3, correct? We only have 3 dirt, stone, gravel roads.
Yeah.
Behind your mom's, one.
Behind the alley, behind Mom's,
And the one,
behind Leroy's.
between you and,
Mine's paved.
okay, so we only have 2, we only have those 2.
Yeah, we only have
I
2.
mean, is it something we think we wanna get into? I mean, Bob had always said that we wouldn't get any funding anyhow because we can't make them wide enough to
Right.
meet the funding.
Exactly, we don't have the space to pave those.
So it don't make sense to get someone trained if we're not gonna get anything out of it, so no, we're not going to do it.
Okay.
Okay.
And on that line, on streets, since you brought it up, I'm not tooting my horn, but we got a letter from PA1 that over the last year, we had 100% compliance with them, and that's between Ed and the rest of us, and I'm happy with that. But I guess that's few and far between.
Okay. Let me go over this first. Here's the maintenance report for the month of May. They repaired the no truck sign, installed the trespass sign, Water Street, flagged traffic on South Mill for the water leak at 165 South Mill, planted grass, seeded, placed straw at 165 South Mill, mowed sulfur springs around the water tanks, the Borough building and the portable buildings area twice in May, We needed the pump stations 1 and 2, put new stop sign at the east end of Anthony Street, straighten the street sign at Hubert Street, trim trees at the stop sign at Wood and East South Street, and 1 no parking sign on Water Street, and a stop sign on 165 South Mill. Cleaned up around the double doors on the North Mill Street Borough Building prior to Election Day, cut down trees on reservoir land, contacted homes on East Anthony regarding the water leak they had out here, helped repair the water leak at 57 East Anthony. We needed both sides of Water Street, Sulphur Springs, and the water tank, replaced the stop sign on East North Street and west end of North Street, repaired street signs on Hubert Street. Okay. One other thing that they brought up to me, for the people that are familiar with the watershed up at the wells, the section that comes down through the field and through the woods to what we always called the breast is so grown up, you can barely get down through there. We have to keep that open because that's the water line.
Right.
I talked to Rodney Weaver. Green Township does have the articulating mower that they can do whatever with. I think he said he can trim 16 feet in the air, turn the mower sideways. He said he is willing to do it, trim the whole edge back if that's what we want, because they are growing into the fields, making the fields much smaller up there. So I told him I'd bring it here. They're waiting on a part. The part was supposed to be here today, June 1st. They ordered the part in September.
Yeah, and they're
This
still
is like
waiting.
the 3rd delivery date, and they're hoping it comes today so they can get it back in service and get it running, because the way Rod talked, they do this for several municipalities in Clinton County.
Yeah, they do Crawford Township a lot.
So is this something we want to pursue? I think we have to keep that road down through the woods to the breast open, because that's where the water line is.
Yeah, we have to.
Yeah, Bob used to always do that.
Yes. Well, this is the trees. They'll actually mow the trees, the sides of the tree branches, so you can actually get down through there.
Yeah, I forget what they charge an hour, but they have an hourly fee they charge.
Yeah. So
we're only having to do it once, maybe twice a year, if that.
I'd say just once a year if they do it. If they get it trimmed back good enough, maybe every other year, but.
Right. It's brush trees that are growing up.
Can I get a motion or more discussion on having Green Township do that for us?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Yeah.
Danny? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And I did talk to Ryan, he had to leave. He is going to mow the watershed, I think he said this weekend. Because it needs it.
It's up there.
And that way we can see what trees, I'll just talk to Rod and have him go the whole way around the field. Anything that's out that he can cut off, just have him trim it back while he's up there.
Also, along with maintenance, I don't know if it's maintenance or not, but Donnie asked me if the borough could purchase some caps. Those light green caps with fluorescent on them, to say Loganton Borough on the front, to use. He said like when they have to go around, knock on doors, tell people the water is going to be shut
We
off.
should have a bunch of them in here in the cabinet.
Or an ID badge.
Yeah.
But he said that the vest doesn't say anything on the front, it's just on the back, and people look at you and they wonder why you're there.
Yeah.
We have hats, and then remember we bought them safety vest kits, the helmet and everything? I think it had a hat in it that said.
That was the name on it, Chris, I don't remember.
I don't remember, I'd have
If
to
it
look
isn't,
at
why
mine.
couldn't we get some decals or something that would say?
No, we could. Not hard to
He
make.
asked me if we could purchase, you know, something for that.
Hats, even a badge for him.
Yeah.
It says Loganton Borough.
Denny can make them to hang on their vest. That's easy, Denny made the vest.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
So Denny, I'm sure Denny can make one that attaches right onto the vest and be done with.
Don't need their picture or anything, I'll just look at the borough employee.
Just so we're identified.
Yes, when they walk up.
Like we could You see Denny more than I do, so one or you two could talk to him.
Well, I can't really want to, just a few.
You can, I don't know when I'll see him.
How many you want, hey?
I'd get Donnie, Leroy, Kenny,
We all have vests.
yeah, anybody that has a vest.
It doesn't.
Yeah, at least a dozen.
Yeah,
Are
doesn't
you looking for something like with a pin, or how do you want it to fasten?
Let Denny make a thing that says Loganton Borough on it. And then if we have to give him a vest for a day, let him attach it, or maybe he can make it where it Velcros
Oh,
on.
you're gonna sew it right to the vest?
Yeah.
I was thinking a regular ID badge, so if you didn't have your vest, you can still have your badge.
Well, he can do that too. He makes them out
Maybe you
there.
can make something like with a pin in it.
No, I'm saying
Yeah.
with the lanyard.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
lanyard.
with the ID on it.
Yeah, with the IDs.
Yeah.
He
Like
makes
they
the
were-
license holder IDs for ski areas, so he
Yeah.
can make it, pin it right on the back.
Or on a lanyard, like
Yeah.
she's saying, that way you got it.
Well, the only thing I don't like about that is if you have to have it tucked somewhere, because if you're working on something and it gets tangled up.
Well, yeah, you take
You
it
gotta
off.
be
You
careful
just
with
basically need it for, if you're going around the houses, things
Yeah.
like that.
Well, the thing of it is, if you put it on the vest, you grab the vest, if you're gonna, whatever you're gonna do, traffic or whatever, it'll be there.
Right.
You don't have to get it and put it on.
Just get the Denny to make one
I'll
like
get
they use at
some
the
of them
ski
fasten
areas.
to the vest.
Yeah.
I'll take
Yeah.
care of it.
Yeah.
I'll take care of it.
Anything else on new business? Okay, mayor's report.
Okay, most of my concerns have already been taken care of, fortunately, there. I just want to say one thing. I got legal advice about whether me attending some discussion meetings involving the Nicholas plant were a conflict of interest. I am assured that there is no conflict of interest. I hope they don't start considering whether I can go to a certain Sunday school class or something else. I've never seen in 47 years, I guess I'm old fashioned. I was always on council, the council was here to help. But now there seems to be an attitude that we're the enemy and let's try to find something wrong. Me going to discussion groups to try to bring the Nicholas plant closer together to the community, and I take my time and do that to try to help the community, and then people that don't do anything for the community, don't even live in the community, find fault with it. I just find that alarming. That's all I have to say about that. I think it's disgusting and alarming and everything else, but there is no conflict of interest. If anybody wants to check it with a higher power of attorney or somewhere that they can, let them do so, but if you're gonna find fault with that, well, that's too bad.
Nothing wrong with being informed. I think we have to stay informed all the way around. Our job.
You want anything else?
I'm done.
Okay. I already discussed what I had. I had some more places to send letters about cars. So I can just give you the addresses, right?
Yep.
Since you're gonna do the letters,
Yep.
okay?
If you're gonna do that, I got told about a bunch of cars up on Hall Street, up in Mom's Alley.
That's
There's a bunch of them up there.
like 7 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Water committee.
All right. The new meter, the big meter for out at the school is here. I gotta get with Jim and get that put in here very shortly. Bill and I are kinda waiting till right when we do the readings at the end of the month and hopefully put the meter in right then and there. That's it on that one. We got a request from a a homeowner and business owner here in the borough. He called us and wanted us to shut his water off on his business. He's having financial difficulties, he can't afford it. I said, I will not shut it off until I have something in writing. And he said, why? And I said, because if we were to shut it off and you have something in your business that gets damaged because we shut the water off, we're just not gonna go that route. I want something in writing.